Oh, there it is.
Here we are. We're starting the show with another crack up. Welcome, everybody, to episode number 80 of Mirrorless Minutes. I'm Jamie McDonald, and the guy on the other side, the Sith Lord himself,
Yeah.
he was sitting with his hood up earlier, so he looked like the Emperor.
Like doing my Emperor.
Yeah. So, oh boy, it's one of those nights already again. So Mike and I were sitting here playing around with the new Adobe Lightroom CC Classic. And it's anything but classic. It's actually, so here's the thing. There's a certain person who Mike and I have done an intro for his somewhat famous podcast, probably like the biggest photography podcast on the planet, the Petapixel Photography Podcast. The host of that, Sharky James, is always saying, Grandpa, Lightroom's so slow. Lightroom, I'll tell you what, dude, not slow. Okay, I never had a problem with it though personally. It always seemed to work just fine for me. Now I'm starting to think if it worked like this all the time, holy crap. The new Lightroom is smoking fast.
I'm flipping through photos as we're talking. I'm not really watching the show.
Okay, so. boot up time for starters. Boot up. I mean, you know, I have a pretty fast Mac. And before, you know, I'd have a couple of bounces on the dock and then it would open up. This one, I don't even know if the icon bounced. I mean, it was just literally, I clicked, boom, boot up screen, here we are, we're already working. I'm like, holy crap. So we're excited. So that's one of the things we'll talk about tonight, a little bit about that. But before we get started, and while we're on the subject of Adobe and Lightroom and all things Adobe, everything Adobe, is we're going to give away a year of the Creative Cloud. And there is no better time. Yeah. I mean, because Adobe did this big announcement during Adobe Max, which our buddy Jason Artell is at, because he's our Adobe connection. So he got this little collaboration with Adobe going with us so we could give away a year. We've been talking about it for months, and we're going to do it. We're going to give it away. We're going to give it away right now. And I'm not even going to tell you who won yet. I'm just going to show you the picture first.
Right. That's good.
And it'll be kind of obvious who won because their name is on the picture. But so, drum roll, no drum roll. Here we are. This is the winning image. This is shot by Karen Martin. Phenomenal photo. Okay, I'm kind of an astro nerd, so naturally a Milky Way shot's going to speak to me. And Mike stumbled upon this.
And not being an astro nerd, I picked up on that one.
Yeah.
We actually agreed on that.
Yeah, and it's totally like
wow.
It's awesome. It's killer. So just wanted to get that out there. Hopefully Karen's watching. If she's not and you're her friend, call her up on the phone and say you need to be watching those nut jobs on Mirrorless Minutes because you just won something. So a year of Creative Cloud. Karen, you can message either Mike or myself and we will put you in touch with Jason. And great shot. Totally deserving of a year of the Creative Cloud suite.
Yeah, Karen's really cool too. I shot with her when I was out with Alex one time on a photo walk, and man, she's into it. Cool. That's a great shot. Gosh.
Good deal. That's awesome. So hey, perfect timing to get a year of the Creative Cloud suite. You know what? And because you get a year of the full suite, you can try out both versions of the Lightroom, which we'll kind of talk about here in a minute. You know that there are now 2 versions, and it's kind of got the internet going crazy right now. But before we do that, you're not at home. You're in a hotel room. Where are you?
No, at? I am in a hotel room. I doubt you'll hear many planes, but I'm at the airport, Newark Airport.
Oh, my favorite.
Yeah, yeah. It is. It is our favorite. We've been in it together many times. So I'm out in Jersey. Come home tomorrow. So next 4 out of 5 weeks be traveling.
Man.
So I'm sure we'll do a few more shows from the road.
Yeah. Wow.
Here. For sure.
So, but you've been out shooting too, so I saw that you actually got to go out and get a little free time to go shooting. So, will you share an image from that tonight, or is that not going to be something you share?
30 minutes. That's it. Last night, that's all I got.
Yeah.
But I was in Edison, New Jersey, and of course, there's a thing to Thomas Alva Edison, a huge monument memorial. The last time I was here, they were redoing it. So, but the deer were everywhere. I mean, I can't even explain it, but they're on the sides of the roads, and they're so friendly that when I walked up, I figured they're all going to scatter. They just stayed around, like, hey, you got food, or why are you here? I got great pictures pictures, and all I had with me, and it's because of a blog post I'm writing too for Olympus, but all I had was the TG5, and I'm trying to explain how nice it is just to have that in my pocket, run out, get a half hour's worth of pictures, and get back to the hotel because I needed to get work done. But I just could not shoot, when I'm on the road, I've got to do that. So, yeah, and it is nice having that TG5 there for that. But it was neat to get a little movie of the deer just hanging around.
Very cool. That's very cool.
It was pretty neat. So
good deal. Let's talk about what you've got coming up, and then I'll talk about what I just got done doing.
Okay, well, I've got coming up, in fact, I just throw it on my Facebook again, November 11th, Camera Mall. So if you're coming and it's a free photo walk out in the streets, I'm just going to tell you right now, it's in Ann Arbor. It's going to rain or snow.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I apologize ahead of time. And maybe it'll be beautiful now. Maybe I re-jinxed it. We've done a lot of photo walks together, and this one's actually on my own, but either one I go to is always raining or snowing in Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
And snow could be, you never know. But Saturday, November 11th, do some walking in the street, do some street photography. It should be a lot of fun. And they're having a huge mirrorless weekend, I believe, that at least that Saturday, because I don't think they're open on Sundays. So that'll be a lot of fun. I know the Olympus, I think Mike will be there, Mike Amico, and whatever other brand, if there is one for mirrorless. I couldn't remember their names, but I know that I know Olympus will be there. I guess that's all that matters to me.
Is there going to be like a focus for this walk? Is it just going to be kind of a let's hang out and just go shoot whatever we see? Or
it's we're just going to try. I'm going to get people to try to just stop and focus on what they might be missing as they're walking around and spinning around so fast. And
gotcha.
And saying, hey, let's set up and wait for a person like to walk past the one wall with all the murals, or even to get into the graffiti alley. Let's see what kind of person, So we might spend a few minutes in one spot, but we'll talk about it. So
that's good.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. That's really the only thing that I have rolling ahead of time, but that's okay. Right now, I could use a little break from doing anything.
Right, downtime is not a bad thing. Right. Every once in a while, especially for you. Good Lord, dude, you're constantly like go 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 go. I don't even understand how you.
I'm looking forward to December.
Yeah,
December. I don't think
I have nothing going in December.
No, but we got in January.
Yeah,
we're rolling right back into it with our summit.
Right,
so that should be fun.
Do we have a date for that? I don't even know. That's bad. End of January, right?
I think it is the end of January.
Hey, I'll be glad to go out west in January when it's crabby here. So sign me up.
Me too. Yep.
Speaking of crabby weather,
I was just gonna say, tell us about your crappy weather.
So, for those who don't know, Mike and I have this meetup page. Just do a search on Meetup for Mirrorless Adventures. And don't let the name fool you. We're not biased against anybody who has a mirror in their camera. Everybody's welcome. But it's a meetup group for workshops. And not just workshops, we'll do like just impromptu get-togethers. I did one in the fall on the west side of the state on Lake Michigan just to do a sunset. And I had people come from all over just to hang out and shoot sunset one night. Well, using the meetup page, Mirrorless Adventures, I did a workshop. Actually, I did it in conjunction with a buddy of mine, Mark Miller. Mark is also a fellow Vanguard pro. He's also an ECM brand ambassador like myself. Actually, he kind of hooked me up and got me in with Nisi, so thank you, Mark. And Mark is an Olympus user. I pulled him away from Nikon and brought him over to the light side. So I wanted to do a workshop in Northwest Michigan. It's my favorite area of the state. It's just beautiful and scenic, and ton of lighthouses. And about 5 or 6 months ago, I started thinking it'd be cool to do a fall workshop. We have beautiful fall colors in the state. We have lighthouses, and put together this workshop idea and asked Mark if he wanted to do it. So we put it out there, and that's what we just had this past weekend. It was Thursday night, we all did the meet and greet together, and then Friday, Saturday, and actually until about 3 o'clock Sunday afternoon. Started off in the northwest side of the state and worked our way down the coast over the course of several days. The premise was to be, during the day, maybe do a little adventure hiking, visit a few spots that I knew about, and then in the evening shoot sunset at the lighthouses. I don't think we saw the sun, but maybe for 5 minutes all weekend. We didn't get rain, really. We lucked out. Very little rain. We had drizzle a couple of times, but we had people come from all over the state, and I actually had a gentleman drive all the way in from the Finger Lakes region of New York. Ted, thank you, Ted, for coming. It's quite a haul, dude, to come in, and it was cool that you made that trek and that journey. And we're such a good sport about the weather that we had. Even though it wasn't miserable, it just wasn't what I personally had envisioned for the workshop. But anyway, so over the course of several days, that's what we did. We did exactly what our itinerary said. Did a few impromptu things, changed things up just a little bit just to keep it, workshops are fluid. You kind of have to adjust with the conditions and all that. We did. It's a running joke for the members of the workshop. We got turned around twice in like a 10-minute period of time. Leaving one location, go to the next. Google Maps told me to hang a left, so we hung a left, and as soon as I got going, immediately Google Maps said, do a U-turn. So we did a U-turn and started going the other way, and then 10 minutes into that way, not even 10 minutes, 5 minutes into it, Google Maps says, do a U-turn. I'm like, what in the hell's going on? It was user error. I was putting the destination we were supposed to be going to next as my starting point, and the place we had just left as the destination. So it was just trying to get us back to where we had just finished shooting. So I took a little heat from the group, but everybody thought it was funny. And I immediately offered up to do another meetup free of charge. It'll be a meetup on navigation. And,
I was just going to say, do you think we could get Google on the show?
Well, I was going to do a navigation meetup, and everybody would be there, but I unfortunately probably would not be able to find my way to it. So, so that's just kind of
a good one. Yeah.
That was kind of like one of the fun, goofy highlights of this workshop. But I'll do an image share really quick just so you can kind of see some of the stuff that we covered. It was a pretty cool weekend. I think everybody had a good time with it. Everybody definitely came away with some great pictures, and I think we're going to conclude the workshop with some couple of more online meetups where we go over post-processing, and we'll talk about doing an image share together. So it's something to look forward to if you're a meetup member, part of the Mirrorless Adventures meetup. So this is where we started off. It's called the High Rollaways. It's kind of what it looks like. It's just a really high vantage point in Northwest Michigan. One of my favorite places. And what's funny about this spot is I went there a couple of years ago with my family, shot it, fell in love with it, knew immediately that this had to be on my workshop. And I swear, up until this year, I hardly ever saw a photo of this place posted online, ever. This year, my Instagram feed is full of people who have shot this place. I'm like, okay, cat's out of the bag, Not like I was hiding this location, but I just never saw anybody go to it. Well, apparently everybody knows where it's at now, but great place to take a group of people. Really easy access. You pull into this. You take looks like a dirt road, kind of like a 2-track going in the middle of nowhere. You wonder if you're getting lost, but you come into this parking lot in the woods, and you get out of your car, and you literally only have to walk a couple hundred feet, and this is what you're greeted with. So this is Northwest Michigan at its finest, folks. I just can't explain enough how beautiful this location is. It was a little drizzly when we first got there. There were a couple of instances where you got those great rays of light breaking through the clouds and highlighting some of the trees. And I have a shot like that, but it's very similar to a shot that I took 2 years ago, so I didn't even want to share it with anybody, so I shared this one instead. So again, this was kind of the first location that we went to. We went to a few other places, but one of the next locations that we went to the next day was Betsy Point Lighthouse in Frankfort, Michigan. This is probably one of my most favorite lighthouse locations in the state, probably if not the favorite. The water here is always this incredible aquamarine color. It's just phenomenal. What is even more phenomenal, and people are just going to call me out on this and think that I'm full of crap, but I swear to you, this is the image that came off the camera. This is why you invest in a good set of filters. I have not done anything to this image other than I had it a little not perfectly level. I think I might need to adjust the level in my in-camera calibration or whatever, but other than leveling this image, this is it. This is straight out of the camera. This is using Nisi filters, and I was using a 3-stop ND, and I was also using their medium graduated neutral density filter. The 3-stop in conjunction with the medium grad was basically just to give me a long enough exposure to, you know, soften the water like you're seeing there. Exposure locked for the foreground, so my foreground was exposed how I wanted it to, and then just slid the filters in, and this is it, man. Again, great example of why you want to use filters. You don't have to sometimes do any editing in post. And it also, oh, what was I going to say here? Oh my gosh, totally lost my train of thought here. But anyways, yeah, so Nisi filters. And this next shot is staged. This is my favorite shot of the weekend too. I'm probably going to get this one blown up as like a big print. Another one straight out of the camera. This one right here was taken a little bit earlier. It was like 10 minutes, 5 minutes earlier. The sun was just kind of starting to go down and you were getting this purple glow off the horizon. This one was after we lost the glow on the bottom of the clouds. Excuse me. So this log was actually about 20 feet up the beach, further up on shore. And I saw it when we first arrived there. And after working with everybody was off shooting, getting their shots, I ran over and decided to move this log into the water. So actually the pointy end of it was sticking in the water. And I set up a shot where I was looking down the gnarled roots down the length of the log. And I got one shot in until a wave came in and turned it completely sideways to this shot right here. So then I just took a couple of more shots this way. Again, this one's another one that's straight out of the camera. Exact same setup, the 3-stop ND and the medium graduated neutral density filter. Oh, and what I was going to say about the last shot, and this one it applies to as well. It's the 7-14 on the EM1 Mark II at the widest setting too. It's 7 millimeters. This was probably the best weather that we had. The very last day of the workshop, we had gale force winds coming in from the night before. They started late at night and continued into the next day. So we worked our way down to from Ludington down to Muskegon to Pier Marquette Beach, and then ended the day in Grand Haven at the pier there. I've shot this pier a million times, and I've shot it with big waves. I've never shot it with waves like this. It was just outrageous how big these waves were. This is one after it's pretty much on its way down. There were a lot of waves that we had where they were breaking, and other people in the workshop have plenty of photos where the water is at the top of the lighthouse here, the fog house. The cement portion that you see right here is probably 10 foot. So to get up there, the waves are breaking at like 40 feet up in the air. And I'll probably throw in another picture and preview here in a second to show you. But people were surfing here when we were there. Actually, a lot of people were surfing there. Probably 20 or 30 surfers were there. They would they would walk out onto that pier about halfway and then dive into the water with their board to catch waves to come back in. It was insanity. And it's pretty cool to watch, though. The winds were so strong. There were gusts, over 50 miles an hour. So when you're watching them walk out onto the pier carrying a surfboard, which is basically like a foam wing,
right? I was just going to say
they're holding on to this. There was this little dude, trying to go out there, and I'm watching the wind catch him, and he's like starting to get dragged, and he has to get down and almost like lay down to wait for the wind to stop, and then get up and then hurry up and run, and the waves are almost washing him off the pier. It was
How cold
wild.
was it out there?
It was actually not too bad. It was comfortable.
Really?
It was just you were getting bands of rain that would blow through, and it was just.
So those were hitting you hard then.
Yeah, you'd have to wait for the bands to go through, and it wasn't bad. We shot, we had loaner kits. Olympus provided us with several loaner kits that was totally cool. So we had EM1 Mark II or EM1 Mark IIs, 300 millimeter. Every kit had a EM1 Mark II, a 300 millimeter, a 25 millimeter 1.2, a 7-14, and we had several 12 to 100s as well. We also gave away a tripod and bag from Vanguard, which was totally awesome. And Nisi provided a filter kit for every single person to use, a complete filter kit with step-down rings, holders, and everything.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
It was a little tough to manage, that many pieces of gear that you're handing out, amongst, a dozen people. But definitely a good experience for everybody. A lot of people had never had exposure to any kind of a filter system. So
yeah, so you're really teaching.
Yeah, and like I said, we had a lot of opportunity to put the filters in everybody's hands and show them how to make a great image with it. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's great. And that's, like you're saying, with the Mirrorless Adventures, I mean, our whole deal is, this is the idea behind it. It isn't going to be just street or urban shooting, and it's not going to be just the countryside. Or so you can, if you had both of our workshops this year, you got everything.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of portrait shooting, I guess. We haven't done any portrait shooing.
Nope.
I'm not sure we really will, but you never know. You never know.
All right, let me do just a really quick image here. I just want to show people, what it was like here. Let me get over here to this window. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to show the surfers just because.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
All right, so this is a guy walking out, and this is actually a calm moment. It's kind of hard to explain here, but if you look in the background at the horizon line of the water, mm-hmm. that's higher than the pier is right here. So that's a wave working its way in, a big roller coming in. So that when that strikes the back of this, all hell breaks loose. So that the lake doesn't normally look like this. I should pull up a photo from way back in the day where you can see how much lower it is. And then when a gale wind starts coming in, when one of those bands is coming in, that's what it looks like. I mean, this guy, he's a pretty big dude. He walked past me. He's probably 6 foot. And if you look at the angle of his body, he's leaning back into the direction you can see all this waves moving in from. And this kid right here, same thing. This is the kid that I thought that we were going to have to call the Coast Guard or something, because he made it out and jumped in the water and was riding, but intense. I've been to the area many times. I've never seen water quite like that. It was
that is
wicked.
Boy, that is crazy. I mean, those guys, like, is that the Pier 2 or whatever that everything's gone?
Yeah. There used to be a catwalk on there, but let me just say something about what you said. You said those guys are crazy. Mm-hmm. There were more girls surfing than guys. There were more.
Really?
Yeah, it was cool. Like all these girls, like it was like this whole group of girls, probably college age girls. Mm-hmm. I see this guy walk by with this board, looks back and waves, and I'm figuring his buddies are coming. Well, his buddies were like a whole gang, probably 10 girls coming with their boards, like, man, right on. This is cool. It was so cool,
Well, it's not often that you see that.
No, I wasn't expecting that. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, wow. That is fantastic, actually. All right, so what do you want to do? You want me to throw up some, and then we'll finish up with Lightroom? Or talk about Lightroom?
So we got a couple of questions. So Jeff Bettman asked if it's easy to upgrade. It sure is. You just go to your Adobe Creative Cloud app and just update. Yeah. It's literally easy. It's super easy.
Yep.
Lots of crazy people in the world. That's right. I don't know what that reference was into. It's probably about the surfers. It had to be. Unless you're talking about me. Which could be too.
Yeah, I don't know what that one is about. There are. Yeah, he's right. Yeah. He is right about that. All right, let's see if I can find where. Okay, here we are. So I'm going to talk about our trip to Ann Arbor. So Jamie and I got together to shoot. It's not often that we actually get together to shoot without 10 or 20 people with us. So we were in Ann Arbor, and we were just going to mess around. We both got those new 360 cameras too, so we're fooling with those. But we were walking around town with our Olympus actually, and doing shots. And this is a shot a lot of people have of the Graffiti Alley. But what I did is I put on the Vanelli preset that's usually used for portraits, and I just wanted to make this alley a lot sort of scarier. It's really not that scary to me at all, but I think this made it a lot darker and a lot more foreboding as you would walk through to the light there. But yeah, that whole Vanelli preset just does wonders with, especially on portraits of people with tattoos. And let's see, now I got to remember this one. This is one of those 360 shots. And this was, I don't know, Jamie, I don't know if you have it on mute. What was this again? The Ross? Was this the Ross Business Center?
Yes, it was.
That big wall? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So there's what I was seeing and what this 360 thing can do. It's just crazy. I mean, the way this thing turned out to look, whenever you can get the angles and all these different spirals, it is really, really cool. So that was sort of our Ann Arbor trip. Then I think that same afternoon I went out and did all kinds of pumpkin stuff and corn maze, and I had to put this one in. It was just cool shot. I found the one, ear of corn with wings on it. So I had to put that out. I thought that was a fun. I hadn't seen many like that. But this was last night. This was the Thomas Elvis Edison Memorial, and they really did a lot of work on this, which was last year in Edison, New Jersey, with the Olympus TG5. And again, that the TG5 shoots in RAW and JPEG. This is a RAW shot, brought in and hit it just at the blue hour, just as sun was already down. In fact, I was a little upset thinking I was going to be able to get the sun. Then I was more upset that I didn't have bigger cameras with me. So, because it was such a clear night, I probably could have got something pretty nice there with some star trails with this as well. So, but you know what? It's next time I'm here, right? That's the way I look at it. And then one last shot, had to do this one. And I'm trying a new way, a different way of shooting some of these 360s. So I had to do this one where I was holding up the world. And I said, I'm just trying different things. And you have no idea, but there's I've got this thing on a little teeny tripod sticking straight up over my head. And this is the kind of craziness that you get when you have that. So I had to try it. And it came out funny. We'll just put it that way.
So when you did that, did you have any idea? Like
none. No.
Okay. All right. I wasn't sure if you already kind of knew what it would do if you. Okay.
No, and there's a lot of people that understand that, and I can't wrap my mind around it enough to understand yet.
Looks like you got it wrapped around.
I know, everything. But now that I did it, I got an idea. So now you start thinking of other things that you can do that way, all the time. But yeah, that was a fun half hour, 30 minutes. And I knew I had to get a lot of stuff done back, I talked about at the beginning of the show. But if you get out and you travel for work. Gosh, this literally was, I don't even know, 4 minutes from the hotel.
Yeah.
That thing, and it's a park. You just got to look online, find something, and just go.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't sit around in the room and look at unless you want to do macro or something, I guess, inside the room. But, get outside, walk around, because your day is full of craziness to begin with.
That reminds me, too. I forgot, I have I'll talk about it maybe on the next show or coming up sometime to make a note of it. But I've got a feature on Google Maps. I don't know if it was a plugin or exactly how this works. I'm gonna have to get back into it because I did this 2 years ago and forgot I have it. There's a thing you can do where you can tell Google Maps, to basically set a perimeter around where you're at, and you determine if it's gonna be 5 miles or 20 miles or whatever you want the radius to be, and then you can tell it how far you can get in any direction in a given amount of time. So if you tell it, look, I've got 30 minutes, how far can I get in 15 minutes and back? And it'll start, giving you all these different areas around where you're at. So maybe I'll do something with that, because that would come in handy for someone like you,
big time,
who's traveling, and limited amount of time. If I've got, hey, I've got 2 hours, what can I do where I can go somewhere, half hour away, half hour back, it gives me an hour while I'm there shooting. So
yeah, asking stuff on Facebook is always, it's good. It's a good idea, but at the same time, you can get 100 answers and you don't know which way you're going.
Right. Hard to filter.
Sometimes you just got to do your own. So, let me ask you this. So this Google map thing, will that be on the Google Map show you're going to do?
Yeah, the navigation show.
The navigation show.
Yeah, I'll tell everybody how to drive the wrong way for an hour and then turn around and come back and have no time to shoot.
I couldn't resist.
So let me do this really quick too. So we got a minute here to kill. So I just have to do this. I'm going to download a photo really quick from Google Photos, which that's, that here. Everybody wants a tip. People ask, hey, give us, tips. Here's a tip. Start using Google Photos. For people who don't use Google Photos. Oh my
gosh, yes.
So I started showing people recently what you can do with Google Photos. I have Google Photos on my phone, so of course everything that I shoot with my phone gets backed up. But I've also got the Google Photos app, installed on my Macs, and I have it basically pointing to, you could point to all your folders if you want and have it, save everything. Or I just have it pointing to my folders where I'm exporting like my finished goods to, okay? And so it's automatically synced up to the cloud. And then I have access to all of my photos that I've done work to, and then I can use those. I can share them on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook when I'm remotely working. But another cool thing too is that you can have Google Photos search for things based on content in the images. And it's not based on you tagging anything. It's machine learning. It's the AI in Google Photos that recognizes, hey, if you type in a search, show me every photo with
corn cobs.
A corn cob. It would find that one photo of Mike's in all of his photos because it recognizes a corn cob.
So and that's I would definitely do it. And then that's the new Lightroom apparently has this.
It sounds like it's going to be a competitor to that. Exactly, Sensei, Adobe Sensei. So I'm really excited if this works even half as good as Google's. It'll be a game changer when it comes to trying to find your photos to show somebody. Because you know what's annoying is when somebody says, let me show you this picture, and then they do this for like 5 minutes scrolling on their phone trying to find it. With me, it's like, hey, let me show you this picture, and then I just type in a search for red leaf, and then boom, there's the picture.
Yeah.
All of this I was talking about Google Photos just so I could stall you so I could share this picture with you.
Okay.
So this picture is on our second turnaround. And the reason I'm away from cars and Mark is coming towards me is because basically I got out of the truck. This is like a long private drive. There's like really barely anywhere to turn on. Every car you see in this picture is somebody driving on the workshop having to turn around because I turned us the wrong way. So I got out of Mark's truck and I had to run down the row of vehicles and tell everybody, look, I'm really sorry. We have to turn around. And then I'd run to the next car. Look, I'm really sorry. We have to turn around. And then I think by the time we get to the last car, I think somebody said, do you know where you're going? At which point I said, no, of course not.
Do you?
So anyways, download Google Photos. You have to have a Google account, Gmail or whatever. So, and plus it's unlimited storage. It'll back up all of your photos and cost you that many dollars and cents. So yeah, it's just another cloud backup for you.
Why not? Exactly.
So I guess we'll leave the show with that tip. Or my other tip is I just went to the dentist this week and they said, stop drinking so much pop. And then I go and I buy strawberry nut M&Ms tonight. I'll never learn.
Yeah. So, well, I don't. Yeah. Who knows? And I didn't even know I was going to have it on Friday. A nice root canal last Friday. Boy, that was fun.
Yeah. So.
Oh boy.
All right.
Not fun. So yeah. So we will have on. We're not
Jason
positive, but we're gonna see
try
if we
for
can
the next show.
Wrangle him to the next show.
Yeah. To clarify a little bit of the Adobe.
Yeah. But
stuff
go
going
download it. If you're using Lightroom, get it downloaded. Check it out.
And just super quick for those who are kind of confused. There's so much crazy sensationalistic headlines about the release of all these Adobe updates, and some of the confusion is there's now 2 versions of Lightroom. There is Lightroom CC Classic, which is the Lightroom you all know and love, except faster. And then there is Adobe Lightroom CC, not Classic, CC. And here's your differentiator. Okay, the differentiator is that Adobe Lightroom CC is basically, we'll say it's like the introduction to Adobe Lightroom. It's going to be a much easier to use interface. It's more user friendly for somebody who's not quite advanced. So if you've got all those friends out there who are just getting into editing and all that kind of stuff, got their first camera, say, hey, look, this is the one you want to go download. We'll talk more about the other features of it as far as working from the cloud and how that will work. I was talking to Mike about it, and I think a lot of people are afraid of how fast editing is going to work. Let me just give you guys a hint. If you're already editing in your live previews, then it's going to be the same thing. Okay. So anyways, we'll leave it at that. We'll get Jason Ortel from Adobe back on. I know he's going to be glad to come back on and kind of dispel some of the myths about the new Adobe stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
So with that, I guess we'll just wrap this up. We ran a couple of minutes over, but it's always worth it when Jamie's freaking out talking about strawberry nut M&Ms and drinking pops.
Or maps.
Getting lost. I'm getting lost trying to shut this broadcast off. But we'll see you guys in about 2 weeks. Travel safe, Mike, and we'll talk to everybody later.
Hey, see ya.